Eradicating hunger and malnutrition is one of the great challenges of our time. Lack in availability or bad quality of food cause suffering and poor health, but also determine slow progress in education and employment. Since the 20th century, around 75% of crop diversity has been lost from farmers' fields. It is a serious loss because a better use of agricultural biodiversity can improve diets and provide more sustainable, resilient, and diverse farming and food systems. On the other hand, 4 billion people have no access to electricity worldwide, most of whom live in rural areas of the developing world. This is a fundamental barrier to effectively reduce hunger and ensure the production of enough food to meet future demand. The goal 2 of the Agenda 2030, called Zero Hunger, according with the previous Zero Hunger Challenge in 2012, is the priority of the World Food Programme. This goal is focused on ending hunger, improving food security, and promoting a sustainable agriculture and food chain. The concept of food security includes an integrated approach to fight all forms of malnutrition, to improve the productivity and incomes of small-scale food producers, to promote the resilience of food systems and the sustainable use of biodiversity and genetic resources. The Zero Hunger Challenge was launched by United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in 2012. The Zero Hunger vision reflects 5 elements which, taken together, can end hunger, eliminate all forms of malnutrition, and build inclusive and sustainable food systems. Therefore, the Zero Hunger Challenge provided a platform bringing together governments, civil society, the private sector, the United Nations system, and others for a collective impact. The United Nations has defined 8 targets and 13 indicators for SDG 2. Targets specify the goals and indicators represent the metrics by which the world aims to track whether these targets are achieved. The objectives and indicator are the following. Just to give you an example, we can consider Target 2.1, universal access to safe and nutritious food, with the 2 indicators, prevalence of undernutrition and of moderate or severe food insecurity in the population status. Or, for instance, Target 2.4, sustainable food production and resilient agricultural practices, that can be evaluated by the proportion of agricultural area under productive and sustainable agriculture. And Target 2.5, maintain the genetic diversity in food production, with the 2 indicators, the number of plant and animal genetic resources for food and agriculture secured in either medium or long-term conservation facilities, and the proportion of local breeds classified as being at risk, not at risk, or at a known level of risk of extinction. But you can ask now, how can governments implement the goal, including efforts to end hunger and create sustainable food systems? The answer is written in the same agenda goals and targets, integrated also into national levels with the 5 elements of the Zero Hunger Challenge. First of all food systems are sustainable, from production to consumption. Sustainable food systems deliver food security and nutrition without compromising them for future generations. Moreover, the effects of climate change will require sustainable and climate-compatible agricultural practices, including a diversification of the production. Second, an end to rural poverty, double small-scale producers' incomes and productivity. Ending rural poverty will require a determined effort to increase the income of the small-scale producers, feeding a growing global population. This will also involve improving people's well-being. Third, adapt all food systems to eliminate loss or waste of food. It is essential to minimize food losses during production, storage and transport, and waste of food by retailers and consumers within all nations. Fourth, assess adequate food and healthy diets for all people all year round. Access to food for healthy and diverse diets, it is intrinsically linked to equity and women's rights and resilience. Fifth, an end to malnutrition in all its forms. Malnutrition is both a driver and an outcome of poverty and inequality. Undernutrition can also lead to hidden hunger, wasting and stunting, which causes irreversible damage to both individuals and society. Obesity in childhood is a growing problem in all regions, even very poor. The junk food is always cheaper. This should be supported by a multi-sectoral approach which includes nutrition-sensitive healthcare, water, sanitation, education, agriculture, social protection and specific nutrition intervention, coupled with initiatives that enable empowerment of women. The Zero Hunger vision of a world free from hunger, malnutrition and rural poverty is fully aligned with the 2030 Agenda, which sets out the goals and targets that we must achieve to make this vision a reality. The mission of the Zero Hunger Challenge is to bring together all stakeholders to communicate the importance of food security, nutrition, and inclusive, sustainable and resilient agriculture to deliver on the promise of the 2030 Agenda and to encourage, engage, accelerate, and amplify collective action to create food systems that deliver for all people. In the framework of the 2030 Agenda, the Zero Hunger Challenge promotes integrated approaches that respond to the multiple interconnected causes of hunger and malnutrition. Grounded in the right of everyone to have access to adequate, safe and nutritious food, the Zero Hunger vision can significantly contribute to the massive transformation needed to deliver on this ambitious agenda.